Well, as hype and anticipation for Epic Universe continues to grow, but a certain ride has not been available for team member previews for the general public outside of the media and a select few team members from Universal Studios, and that ride is Battle of the Ministry, but as of today during the previews, it was available in a certain way, in which we will talk about, because it's basically how I figured it was going to go in terms of how people would be able to experience it. So we're going to go through this and talk about it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And this article is from Blog Mickey. It says, Harry Potter Battle of the Ministry ride now open at Epic Universe. Previews via virtual line. Now, I'd been saying all along, I felt like this ride in particular was going to be a virtual line, like on opening day. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if that turns out to be true. But as of today, when it did premiere, I guess, was available to the general public at the previews, it was in a virtual line system. So the background on this ride is, obviously, it's very highly anticipated. There's lots of hype about this. A lot of people have touted this as the most ambitious ride ever built. I haven't experienced it yet, so I don't know this, but we're also going to go through some reviews about this as well, because I kind of tend to believe these reviews after hearing the reviews about Monsters Unchained, and that ride lived up to the hype. So maybe these reviews here do lend some credence to them. But the issue with this ride was the fact that the ride capacity was not where they wanted it to be. And it's my understanding from what I've been told, the ride capacity on this, particular ride was somewhere around 17 to 20 ride vehicles, somewhere in that range, and they were only able to maybe get 4 or 5 vehicles at a time to run, obviously limiting the capacity of this ride. And they've been trying to work through the issues on this, obviously to get ready for opening day, but maybe they have hit a breakthrough on this. So maybe they fixed the issue with the ride capacity and they're sort of testing it out more. But they go on to say team members and their invited family will now be able to preview the highly anticipated Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry attraction in Epic Universe. The ride has been closed until now for team member previews, with the one exception being that it was open to invited media on a recent preview day. The attraction is said to be the best at Epic Universe, and preview attendees will now have a chance to ride the attraction via virtual line. It says, here's what we know. And they put up a sign here today for those that are at the preview. It says how to get a virtual line return time for Battle of the Ministry. Step 1, open the Universal Orlando Resort app and sign into your account. Link the park tickets for you and your travel party to your Universal account wallet. And then 3, choose an available virtual line return time. And the return times will become available at 12 p.m., 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. So they're doing multiple basically drops where you can get a virtual queue throughout the day. It says, according to preview attendees, the attraction will be open starting today, but guests will be required to join a virtual line to be able to experience the attraction. Guests can attempt to join the virtual line, again, like we said, 12, 3, and 6. The ride will not be open with a traditional standby queue at this time, which does make sense if we look at other attractions that have had similar issues. Most of the time we see this at Disney. Rise of the Resistance comes to mind because that ride had a lot of reliability issues, so they kept it in virtual queue for a long time because if and when it goes down, they don't have to evacuate the entire queue. If it's in a standby, they just don't call the next boarding group, essentially. So that's one reason why I felt all along, given the issues they've had with the ride capacity, that this would likely be the way in which they would operate this ride, just given they may not be trusting, if they have worked out the ride capacity issues, or at least partially, they may not trust it completely just to have a standby queue, which again, this ride has about a 7 to 8 hour standby queue. So you can only imagine if they had that much of a standby queue, the ride goes down, they'd have to evacuate everybody out of that ride queue, and that would be a nightmare. So it makes sense to run a virtual queue. And Universal has done virtual queues before. They did it for Hagrid's for a long period of time. So they haven't done it as much as Disney, but they have done it in the past. It says Battle of the Ministry is the only attraction utilizing a virtual line at this point during the Epic Universe preview period. And then here's how Universal Orlando describes the attraction. Travel by Metro flew from Paris to the British Ministry of Magic, where Dolores Umbridge is about to stand trial. Board a lift and join Harry, Ron, and Hermione as you journey deep into the Ministry's many departments. Thrilling adventure, fantastic beast, and unexplored mystery await in Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. It says, we were able to walk the queue during an early preview when the ride was not operational, and it's nothing short of stunning. For fans of the Harry Potter series, it will exceed already high expectations. Even from a more objective standpoint, it is the best queue in any theme park that we've ever visited, surpassing the high bar set by Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and Avatar Flight of Passage as other standout queue experiences. I mean, I've heard the exact same thing, so During previews previously, now we were there, we just happened to be at previews on the same day as the media. We were not part of the media, but you were able to walk into the queue of this and check out that area. We were not able to do that on the day we were there because it was closed for just media. So I haven't even got to experience the queue, but everything I have heard, the pictures I have seen, it looks nothing short of just absolutely like insane in terms of the scale of it. So I'm very interested about this ride and hoping it will be available for us when we go back for previews and opening day. If the ride is able to match or exceed the queue experience, Epic Universe could easily find itself as the home of the best theme park attraction in Central Florida and perhaps the world. Could be pretty lofty praise heaped on this ride. But from people that were able to ride it today, we do have some reviews or reactions to this. So obviously the media did get to ride it. They gave some reviews about it. Very glowing reviews, but I think some people, they put doubt on things they see from, media that gets invited in because they may feel like they're not being truthful. There's a lot of people that have pointed that out. I'm not saying one way or the other. I, for the most part, believe the people that say they think it's great, but obviously sometimes people put more credence behind just, people that are just able to go on a given day and see what they have to say about it. Now, Theme Park Shark was part of media previews, but he goes on here to say, to everyone experiencing Harry Potter and the Battle to Ministry today, enjoy every moment of it. From the queue to the ride technology, it's a game changer in theme park experiences. Have an incredible time. Theme Park Obsession says, Battle to Ministry is an incredible showcase of tech with some of the most jaw-dropping scale I have ever seen. The animatronics are the showstoppers, and the ride vehicle really does bring the thrill here, but there are too many screens, just a few too many. So a little critical review there about it. John here says, Harry Potter and the Battle to Ministry is a real technical marvel. It actually defies what's actually possible in a theme park dark ride. The usage of screens is probably the best in any attraction. Unbelievable achievement on display. Scott Gustin, who is part of media, but Scott Gustin's pretty neutral for the most part. He doesn't really get too over the top about everything. He says, the queue for Harry Potter and the Battle to Ministry is easily one of the most impressive spaces ever created in a theme park. No photo or video will ever do it justice. Absolutely incredible. HHN Speculation Matt says, I have no words. Harry Potter and the Battle to Ministry absolutely blew me away. Adam Longs for the Dark Universe says, Battle to Ministry is truly indescribable. We were lucky to ride twice due to a breakdown. It will never get old. I don't think a ride has ever truly been so creatively unleashed. Hunter here says, I have 0 words for the ride that is Battle to Ministry. The game has been changed forever. Evan here says, I simply have not processed my experience on Battle to Ministry as I don't even know where to start. Absolute insanity. And that's kind of how I felt after getting off of Monsters Unchained. I literally just had to sort of sit there and think. I'm like, I didn't really know how to process everything going on. Again, the scale of it, there's so much happening. So if Battle to Ministry is this great of an attraction along with Monsters Unchained, and I really enjoyed, like Donkey Kong Country, Minecart Madness, I enjoyed Hiccup to Wing Gliders a lot. Like most of the rides in the park, I thoroughly enjoyed. So if this park obviously has a lot of hype, if these two attractions, Monsters Unchained and Battle to Ministry, are both this level of just dark ride, basic and just insanity like we've never seen before, I think this park is going to be set up very, very well, not only for this year, but in the coming years, and looking forward to the expansions they will do. And obviously, multiple headlining attractions that live up to a lot of hype is going to be something that goes a long ways in how people are going to view this theme park. Attractions 3D says, Harry Potter and the Battle to Ministry is an insane ride with multiple drops similar to the drop in Rise of the Resistance. It's a combination of Tower of Terror, Rise of the Resistance, and Spider-Man ride, all in one with many realistic animatronics. And I did have a team member at Universal that got to ride Battle to Ministry, and I asked them what it was like, and they essentially told me verbatim, it makes Monsters Unchained look like a slow-moving dark ride, and that it was the most amazing thing they'd ever ridden. So that was before I got to ride Monsters Unchained, and then once I rode that, I went back and found him, and I was like, okay, you're telling me that this is this much better than Monsters Unchained? And he was like, yes. He goes, I love Monsters Unchained, but Battle to Ministry is on a completely different level. So I don't even know what to do with that, but the hype is there. The potential for this is there. If it lives up to the hype, that is going to be another question. And Theme Park Express has a pretty good heat of warning here. It says, Battle to Ministry POVs on Twitter and TikTok incoming. You have been warned. Better mute the necessary words to avoid ride spoilers. I would agree with that. I've actually done that. I was very much avoiding them before riding Monsters Unchained. And after riding that ride and all the hype that was about that attraction, I was pretty skeptical about it. I was like, there's surely it's not that crazy or whatever. After having ridden that, all the reviews were accurate. That ride is mind-blowing in terms of what it's able to do, the scale of it, just how great the screens are with the animatronics. It seems now Battle at the Ministry is getting rave reviews, and it is seemingly operational as of today. I haven't heard anything about it going down for a long period of time. And we'll have to see if it's up for the rest of the previews. It may just be a day-to-day basis here. So it seems like it is up. Hopefully that is for good. Hopefully they've worked through the issues on this. And this is now going to be available to preview guests and guests as soon as the park opens May 22nd. So if you're looking forward to this ride, you're going to previews, you might be able to ride it. And I'm very curious as to the more people that get to ride it, the reviews that come out, what people have to say about it. And eventually, once we're able to ride it, I will talk about it. But I have a lot of high hopes for this. We do know it's had multiple ride manufacturers working on this. The ride building itself is massive. So the scale of this ride is one perhaps I've never seen before. I don't recall seeing a ride building be this large for an attraction. So perhaps the last piece of the puzzle for Epic Universe is now online, and essentially a month and a half-ish before the park opens. Maybe they have got the issues worked out, and this is going to be operating on opening day. But I would presume on opening day, we're looking at a virtual line situation, just regardless would be my guess. One of which being just the overall hype for this alone, as they may do that to limit the standby line in this attraction and try and even out the crowds a little bit. We also do know virtual lines can be used for the lands themselves. I'm imagining if they hit capacity, they will go into a virtual line system. But as of now, I haven't heard of any other attraction potentially using virtual line. We do know Express Pass is going to be available at Epic Universe, even on opening day. And the 3 attractions that are not going to be a part of that are going to be Minecart Madness, Battle at the Ministry, and Dragon Racers Rally. So this ride is not going to have Express Pass, and it's probably going to be in a virtual line setup, at least if you're going in the opening time period. So just be prepared for that. And hopefully this is good news going forward about this ride. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.